Hi, this is Mike Volts. I'm here with Mr. Dave Hardman, who is going to take us through a quick tour of how to use our Troop Wiki. Mr.
Yes.
Hardman.
Yes. So yeah, we have been using the Troop Wiki as a great way to communicate all the things that we're doing and plans and keep everybody in touch with what's going on with the troop. So the first thing is just to understand kind of what a wiki is. So a wiki is it's a website like most websites, but unlike those, it doesn't require having a single person who's like a webmaster taking care of all the details. It allows any user to enter their own data and write things. And so it makes it really easy for a group like ours where we shared responsibilities, we have scouts that are in leadership positions, we have adults in leadership positions. It allows them to kind of work independently, create content, and it all works just great. So what we're going to talk about today, just real quickly, is I'm going to cover how do you find a page on the wiki? How do you edit a page on the wiki? How do you create and format your own pages if you're creating new content? And then how do you make that page easy for other people to find, which is sometimes a challenge. So again, a wiki is sort of a do-it-yourself website, and it's really easy to use. The issue with wiki sometimes, though, is you can imagine if everybody's creating content, they can get really disorganized fairly quickly. And so one of the things we want to talk about today is how we have organized our wiki and how, when you create new content, how to make sure you put it in the right place so that other people can find it. All right. So first things first, let's take a look at our wiki and how you would actually log on. So some of you already have a wiki account. Some of you may not have a wiki account. To do that, initially you will get we'll authorize your permission to go to PB Works, which is the company that owns the wiki. And you'll set up an account and you'll get to a screen like this. Can you see that okay?
Yes, I can. Go ahead, Dave.
It is?
Yep.
So you'll get a screen like this, which will show your account and whatever. One thing that I want to encourage everybody to do is there's a preference here. You can set it such that you get, anytime anybody touches the wiki, you can get an email saying, hey, the wiki has changed, but my preference is to never get emails when the wiki changes, because there's lots of changes from lots of people in the troop. So I would encourage you to set your preference whatever you want, but if you don't want to be bothered with all that, just set it to never.
We field questions from folks more often than not of why do I get so many emails from this thing, right,
Exactly.
Dave? So I get mine on a daily basis. If you drop that down one more time, Dave, I think it's at most once per day. And I like that because I get a quick summary of what everyone's updated. And that might be something that I'm interested in and I didn't notice. So that's what I like to get. But you do you, right, Dave?
Yep, exactly. So, but then once you're in here, you can just click on a link to our wiki, and this is what you'll come up. You'll see our homepage here, and it's organized. So we have this front page here has a bunch of sort of general information. So if you're new to the troop, I would highly encourage you to read down through this main section. And there's a set of links here that have all sorts of information about the basics of camping and how we work as a troop and whatnot. Any kind of questions you have, you can talk to a leader and we can answer those. But we're not going to get into that today. We're just learning about how to use a wiki. So the first thing you want to do is like navigate. So there really are multiple ways to find what you're looking for. The basic organization of a wiki is like a lot, like the file system on your computer. We have set up a series of folders, and you can see those here on the right side. So the right side of the wiki page is called the sidebar, and there's a navigator function here. So there's a set of folders here that have information where we store all information. Most of the activity we do are in events and campouts. So there's a folder called camping, and then within that there's a bunch of subfolders. You can eventually get to, let's say, campouts this year, or your patrol. Let's say your patrol is the Big Bears. You can click into there and you can see the campouts that are happening with the Big Bears. Or you can navigate back this way. You can also always get back to the homepage by just clicking on well, I'm on the home page. You can't see it. So if I click on this page here, you'll see a camp out page here. And
actually, Dave, the easiest thing I find is if you scroll all the way to the top and you just click the Troop 162 wiki, a little bit upright. That works too. It'll take you right back to the main page. Yeah, exactly.
Back home.
Yep,
exactly. So, so step one navigation is use the folder system, and it's somewhat logically organized. So again, if you're creating a page, make sure you put it in a reasonable folder. The second way to go, which is things that are current events, we try to use this next section here to have, here are things that are happening like right now or coming up quickly. So a series of campouts. The pandemic pirates, they have plans for campouts for the next several months. So they've created links and put them right here in the sidebar. So let's look at the June campout, and you can see here, here's the June campout. We clicked on that, and there's a sign up list here. And that's how you get to that, right? Then the last thing is, which also, if that doesn't that I find useful, is sometimes there's recent activity, and you can see if a lot of people are doing certain things. You can see right here, there's a lot happening with the big bears right now. There's campouts and whatnot, and so there's a bunch of links here. People have been editing today that are pretty active. So it's a quick way to find it. So those are kind of the basic ways. If all else fails, there's one last resort, and that is to search for it. And there's a search bar in the upper right. And it's not powerful like Google search. I'll just have to warn you. It's looking for very specific spelling of certain words. But you could find a campout. Like if I said big bears, you can see it. It'll find a folder or a campout that have that in their title. So that's another way to look for things if you're not sure where to find it. Okay, so that's how you navigate to a page. Next, we're going to talk about how do you edit a page. So let's again go back to where we just were. Let's say we want to go on a big bears camp out. Let's join them to this camp out here, Cape Disappointment. That's this weekend.
It is indeed.
You go to this page and you will say, hey, I want to sign up. You'll see a table here and a bunch of names and whatnot. So you'll notice on every page in the wiki, there are two tabs near the top. One says view, the other says edit. So there are two different modes. If you click over here, you're in the edit mode. It looks pretty much the same, except now you can type in and actually change the text. I could change the descriptions here. I could say, I want to underline that description there. I don't want to underline it. I could put my name in and say, Dave wants to go on this camp out. And yes, I'm signed up to go. And I've added my name there. And you can see if I go down here and I save that change, you will see now I'm back into the view mode up here. And you go down and voila, my name is there. It's been saved and I'm done. So that's all you have to do to make a change of pages. You have to open up edit, make your change, and then click save. If you have a bunch of edits, that's why they have a key here called save and continue. You can save as you go so none of your work gets lost. Now, a couple things to keep in mind. When you're editing a page, that means nobody else can edit a page. So it's really important is to kind of get in and get out.
We can demonstrate that really quick, Mr. Hardman. Let me go into that same page and I will go edit. And then this is the June one, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's sorry, May for the big bears, right?
Yeah.
Hang on. I got to go cancel. Live and unscripted here, folks. That's how we do this. Okay. So I'm in the May. Oh, look, Mr. Hardman's going camping, but that's not right. I'm going to go change that. Okay. Go ahead and try to edit.
Okay. So
or actually, if you refresh that page,
I did.
There you go. Boom.
As Mike Bolt here is editing the page.
So I have a lock on that right now, right?
I'm going to let him finish.
I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm going to go on that camp out and I'm going to drive. Oh no, I need a ride. Actually, you set yourself up as a youth, Dave. That's hilarious. Mike is going. Now, I like to put a description when I make my changes. I'm a bit of a software guy. So is Dave, actually. But I like to put a description because this is a little bit of a very lightweight revision control system. I see that not many other people do that. But I'll go ahead and save my change. And then Mr. Hardman will refresh when it's done. There, go ahead, Mr. Hardman.
You saved?
Yep.
So I can refresh this page. You'll see that he is not editing anymore. I can look at it. Right. I can edit it now. And hey, he took my name off the list. And where's your comment? You have a comment?
Oh, if you go up to the towards the top of the revision history, your page history, excuse me, you'll see this is a little bit more advanced on the right side there. This shows every single time that the page has been edited. Okay. So there's my comment right there.
Oh, your comment. Yeah, you enter it in the lower field. Right. And so this is the secret to the wiki. The reason the wikis can work without creating huge amounts of problems, you can imagine people writing over on top of other people, like Mike writing over my name, is all the history is saved. So it goes way back, all the way back to this creation of this page, which was just over a week ago by Mr. Byers. And he set up the page, and there's been a bunch of edits to this page, but we can always revert back to one of those earlier pages. So you really don't need to worry. There's a safety net here. You don't need to worry that you're going to do something and screw it all up, because we can always go back and recover it. Okay.
Can you demonstrate that real quick, Mr. Hardman? Go ahead and go back to the one before you made the edit. I think that's clicking one of those buttons. That's a compare.
Yeah, I can just click on that.
Yep. Oh yeah, and then you can click to revert to this version.
To this version.
Yep, there you go. And all of a sudden, none of those changes were made.
Yeah. So I don't know if everybody has that power. I certainly do as administrator. I don't know if that's a common thing. But people don't need to really worry about that.
Yeah.
Just to say the history is there. We can get it back if we need to. Yep. If you have any troubles in this regard, just let one of the leaders know and we'll take care of it.
Yep.
Okay, so we found a page, we're editing the page. So let's say now you have a job where you need to create a page. So no matter where you are in the upper right here, it says create a page. So you hit that button, you could name your page. I'm going to call it Dave's test page. I'm going to make it blank and I'm just going to create it. And there it is. And it pops up. I'm in edit mode. And I can type in whatever I want. I can format. So these little buttons up here are all about formatting. So you can say, I want this to be bold. I want it to be underlined and in italics. There's a set of different title sizes you could use. Let's say this is a heading. There's all sorts of things you could do. You can do color, you can fill it in. So it's just sort of a basic editor. Make things look kind of pretty, make it more readable, okay? Couple things that we do quite often with our pages is we have sign-up tables, so we could insert a table, and it's a real simple thing. You say, let's just make a table that's 5 columns by 5 rows. Oh, 5 rows, where was it? Here I was. And there it is. And we can just type into this table. You can type in anywhere you want. And it automatically sizes the columns and whatever you need to do. The other thing we commonly do is, let's say there's some information. Let's say we're going to the Rose Festival. We want to go to the Rose Festival. You want info, for further info. You could put a link in here to some other page. So if let's say, and I'm going to go off to a different website here, but if I found a link to the Rose Festival, I'm just here. I could just copy that link. Let's see, then I could go back to our wiki, and I could say, I could either put the link in directly, or I could put it in as part of this text. I could just do this like that, and I'm done. And then I could say, okay, this is my new page. And you could go to this link and I could click on that and you will see it goes right to the Rose Festival. So so you can do really powerful things just using links to kind of create all the information you need. So it's right at your customer's fingertips here on the wiki. All right. So let's go back to our wiki page. And the last thing, and this is we created a page, but where is this page sitting right now? It's just sitting somewhere on the wiki. So what you want to do is you want to go put this page in a folder. And it gives you an option here to choose a folder. And I'm going to pick, I have created a folder down here. It's called a draft work area. So I'm going to stick it there for now so it doesn't mess anything else up. But now it's in that folder. And you could easily find it if you went to that folder. You could also say, hey, this is really important. I want to make everybody in the troop know about my test page. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a copy of the link for it. And then I'm going to go over and I'm going to go put it in the sidebar, make it easy for everybody to find. Okay. And the way I do that is go down the bottom of the sidebar. I click edit the sidebar. It opens that up. And I'll put it down here at the bottom, the link. I'm going to put it as, I'm going to just say Command V. And that's, I could put it in Dave's test page in there, but I just put the link in separately. And I can, just like every other wiki page, you can just save that. And now I can go back to our main front page and you can see if I scroll down the very bottom here, there it is, my little thing. And I got a link here and I can click on it and it will just go right to my test page. So there you go. So we found a page, we've edited it, we've created our own page, and we've made it easy to find. And those, if once you can do that, you have basically mastered about 95% of the wiki. There are other little things, gotchas here and there, but by and large, you really don't need to worry so much about those. So that's it.
Dave, do you want to go through really quick and just explore a few of the folders we have, the way that you have it organized, just so everyone knows where to expect what?
Sure.
Yeah, that might be handy.
Let's go back to the front.
Yeah.
And let's just go through the folder side.
My favorite is camping the meals. There's lots of great recipes in there.
So yes, if you haven't had time to kind of look around, there's tons of information in here. I mean, just to give you an idea, I'm just going to flip over to, if you can click on pages and files, this will give you an idea of how much information is on the wiki. If you go over in this thing, you can see these folders. These are the number of pages in each of these folders. Yep. So in the campouts, you can see the huge number of pages. So under menus and recipes, there's 36 pages. Dessert, there Thanksgiving recipes and all sorts of information. But let's follow Mike's lead here. Let's go to menus and recipes, and I'll go back to. We'll navigate from the front here. Let's go to the wiki here, right at the start. We'll go to camping. We'll go to meals, menus.
Yeah.
Well, it's desserts. Desserts. I'm surprised there's nothing in desserts.
Well, we can fix that. The Thanksgiving campout's a good idea because there's some good as a whole list. Yep, there you go.
We've historically, this last year we didn't, but once a year we do a big Thanksgiving feast in early November. So we've created recipes, everything from how to cook a turkey in a pit, which is the star dish, almost one pumpkin pie, cranberry sauce. So you can see, and you click on these, and now
the docx's are interesting because it allows you to download it, but it won't render it on the screen, right?
Yeah.
But if you go back and open the PDF
download.
Yeah,
And
that'll
you just
download
now
it
open it
locally.
up and it's a Word file to open up on your
Right.
screen.
But if you go back a page, Dave, and you open up the PDF at the top, the how to cook a turkey, it'll actually, instead of, it says download, but for me, it just displays it. Does it
Oh, really?
work that way for you?
Or if I download, then it goes right up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, mine's a little different, but it depends on how you set up your thing. But that'll basically just show it to me is what I think of
Yeah.
that as, even though it says download, and that's really handy.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
With a distinct
These days I
difference.
try to go ahead.
With a distinct difference of, if you go back, there's a couple image files there in that directory. I think they will just display those, like the almost pumpkin pie is actually a JPEG image.
Yeah.
I believe that'll just display it if you just select that.
Yeah.
And there it is. So there's a little bit of a difference in the way that it presents the data for you in a
Yeah.
file format. That's
Yeah.
worth knowing.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have all sorts of different things you can do. It's very flexible. It's not sometimes not the prettiest thing. And one thing it does, there's a limit of how much we can store on the wiki. It's all free, which is very nice for us. But it's not, you can see the total is 2 gigabytes are what we're allowed, which isn't a lot. I mean, it's like, you can't even buy a phone, I think, that has that little memory in it these days. So no storing of videos or big videos or lots of pictures. But text doesn't take up hardly any space. And so we have unlimited amounts of room for text. Other things in here you might be useful is, I'm going to go back to camping, because there's things like backpacking lists, gear lists, quartermaster lists. If you need to, how to go buy food. This is really important if you're a first timer for planning shopping lists, or what you need to go do. This is a really good set of things to kind of guide you on your way, because oftentimes your scout will come home and say, hey, we're supposed to buy food for the patrol. And you have no idea what you're looking for. So this is a good place to start.
Yeah.
Any other suggestions, Mike?
For me, I want to go in. Why don't you bring up the summer camp thing? Because I think that's more traditionally the way that we've done troop campouts in summer camp. A little bit up here, a little further down.
There we go.
And this is good in that it's the first page. What you'll see here is a lot of information. There's a lot of stuff we need to convey to our families for summer camp. And then within that, we have a link to the roster for signups and the medical forum pages and things like that. So yeah, exactly. And we tend to, as a troop, do the sort of, I think of it as a multi-level of hierarchy in terms of, here's all the stuff you need to know. And then one more sub level is into the roster and sign up. So if you, when we've been doing patrol things with smaller groups, we haven't done that quite as much. We've just thrown the roster right here on the page.
Yeah.
But when we get back to larger group things, along with summer camp is a good example. Make sure you look for that roster link, right, Dave?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other thing you'll see is, like, on campouts, you may be like, if going on a camp out Friday, and it's Thursday night, and it's like 11:30 at night, and it's like, oh my gosh, what time are we supposed to meet and where? And
yeah.
So if it's done right, that information will be on this page.
Yes.
Right. It'll say where to be, what you should have with you, where to meet, all that type of information. Oftentimes you'll see we're starting now to add like links to the how do you drive there, will be like a Google Map link,
right,
etc. So it's this is the place where you'll find all the information about a camp out. Everything you should need is kind of ground zero right here.
That's the goal. Absolutely.
Last thing I want to go back to is the calendar kinds of things. What's going to come up? So what we try to do is encourage everybody to have key events, put them in the sidebar so people know what's going to happen. But there's also a calendar that is actually, this is a link to a Google calendar that it's maintained most of the time. Sometimes we get a little behind on it.
We do our best.
We do our best, right, exactly. You can see here, this is events that are coming up, and but we can populate this out going to thing. But keep in mind that sometimes patrol meetings and troop meetings get moved around because of Zoom things or whatever. And what we try to do is the week prior to, during a few days prior to whatever the Monday meeting is, you should see an email out from patrol leader or the committee chair or whatever about what's happening this week. Any other comments there, Mike?
I think that's pretty good. Yeah. Reminds me we need to update we had a really good idea if you scroll all the way to the top of that weekly message being in the weekly announcements. That hasn't been updated for a while as of today, as the recording of this message, but we're probably going to get back to that. And if you scroll back up, Dave, the calendar in the top left does take you to a page that our Google Calendar is actually embedded as an applet, and you can kind of scroll through. Okay. We do better with updating this when we're doing things as an entire troop.
Yes.
Since we've been operating as patrols, it's a little bit harder to kind of maintain that, but definitely patrol meetings and troop meetings and things like that are as much as we can in here. And I think if you scroll ahead to July, you'll see that the summer camps are in there, probably for the girls. It's the right arrow. There you go. It should be. Oh, maybe it's not. We got to put that in there.
Mm-hmm.
Work in progress, folks. But this is a direct access to that Google Calendar that we try to maintain. And when we do a better job of that, it might be much more handy. So that's what I wanted to make sure was covered. So
yes. Yeah, sort of likewise, there is a we tried the other thing we don't keep everything. We have other file systems as well. So like where's the roster?
The roster is on the Google Drive, and I don't know if there's a link to it from here, and I'm not sure if we should display it on a video.
I thought I did that.
Quite possible. Let me see if I can search for it.
Ta-da, I got it.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. So there's a link in the sidebar. So if you ever want to contact other people in your patrol, parents, it's all the information.
And the good news is that is protected by only those people that have access to the wiki have access to this information, as well as access to the Google Drive. So we're not going to have somebody stumble in here, we hope, and just get a bunch of information. So exactly.
Now, outsiders can see parts of the wiki. They can see this front page, but they will not get the sidebar at all. Or any of the links.
Easiest way to show that, Dave, if you want to real quick, is to go into something like incognito mode and bring up the same exact page.
Yeah.
Or I could actually show that I have it right here if you want.
Yeah. Why don't you do that? Probably a little bit.
Sure. Okay. So there it is.
I need a quick.
Nope, we're good. So this is what the wiki looks like when you're not signed in. So if you go to troop162.ppworks.com, it'll basically take you right here. And what you'll see is on the right side, you won't have hardly anything in the navigator. There will be no recent activity. You'll just see the photos and all this information here that I know, Mr. Hardman, you spent a lot of time gathering the new member information, and that's all great. And if ever you in a month or two, you come back to the page and it looks like this, and you're like, wait a second, why do I not see anything? Go to the login and log in again. This is what happens to me about once every month or so. Oh, my password, key has expired or whatever. And you log in and you'll come back and it'll, then all the stuff will populate. So that's something that I found very useful to remember. So anything else, Mr. Hardman?
I can't think of anything.
All right.
If you ever, just give a shout if you ever run into problems, and I'm sure somebody will be able to help you.
Yeah, we're here to help. And again, with that, if you go into that page and you see you don't have an account and you get to our page and you see, well, there's no information, the easiest thing to do is to go ahead and just apply for that account, just like Mr. Hardman said at the top, and we'll get you approved and you'll be on your way. It's easy to use. So thank you for your time, Mr. Hardman, and we hope this helps answer a lot of your questions. So thank you.